Good morning, third grade. It's Mrs. Selfridge. I thought today we would try an equivalent fractions lesson. So today you may need some fraction strips. They look like this. So I want to show you where you can get those. So if you go to your math, make sure you're logged in. You go to chapter 10, make sure you're on lesson 6. You're going to come over here and you're just going to arrow over until you see a bent page right there. You're going to click that. And right here are your fraction strips. You can print those out, and you may need them, you may not need them. Probably better to have them just in case. Okay, you guys can stop the video right here and go ahead and get whatever you guys need. Mrs. Selfridge is going to get ready to go ahead with the lesson though. Okay, so today we're going to talk about equivalent fractions. I think we'll skip a problem of the day. You guys, this will be enough. So we're going to scroll on through here. Till we get to our model the math, and that should be on your guys' page 601 in your math book. Okay, so it says Noah has 1/2 of a fruit pizza. How could Noah cut the pizza into smaller equal sized pieces and still have half of the whole pizza? So if you think about a half of a pizza, how could you cut that so that the pieces are still equal? So we could use the 1/4 fraction tiles to equal the length of half the fraction tile. So if you look right here, you have your 1/4 and your 1/2. This 1/2 is equal to 2/4. You can do that by modeling your tiles and laying them out. If I had my 1/2 here and 1/4 here, sorry about that, I can see that those two equal up, okay, are equal, okay? Now let's go ahead, and so how many 1/4 tiles are there? And 1/2 is equal to 2/4, so they are equivalent. Sorry, they are equivalent. Okay, I won't put equivalent on a spelling test. It can be a tough one. All right, Noah has 1/2 of a fruit pizza. How could Noah cut the pizza into smaller equal sized pieces and still have half the whole pizza? Well, he could cut half the pizza into even smaller equal sized pieces. We could use the 1/8 fraction tiles to equal the length of a half. So if I put my 1/2 here and I get my 1/8 right here, if I line them up to the end, I can easily see that there are 4 that match. I don't like to cut my tiles out because they kind of go all over, especially the 12ths. So when you do that, we keep going here. We can see that there are 4 1/8 tiles. Okay. It says Kwan's bookshelf has 3 shelves. Only one of the shelves has books. Kwan says 1/3 of the shelves have books. His mom says 2/6 of the shelves have books. Are they both correct? Well, for me, I'm going to get out my thirds, and then I'm going to get out my 1/6, and I'm going to see 1/3 is equal to 2/6. So they match up, they're equivalent. Right here, they're equivalent, so they both are correct. Okay, Kwan says 1/3. Okay, so let me go back to that, sorry. Okay, Kwan's mom says 2/6. 1/3 of 1 whole is equivalent to 2/6, so they are both correct. All right, another way is using a number line. We did this a little bit last week, okay? Another way is to use number lines. So we can see on a number line that when we break the number line into thirds, where 1/3 would appear, and then when we break the number line into 6 parts, where 2/6 would appear. So we could easily see 1/3 of 1 whole shares the same point on the number line as 2/6. They're both correct. 1/3 equals 2/6, so they are equivalent fractions. You guys are going to have to write that word a couple more times. Okay, equivalent fractions. All right, complete the number sentence with an equivalent fraction. So we see here that 1/2 equals how many fourths? Well, they kind of give you helpful answers here because they show you right here 1/2 is equal to 2/4. Go ahead and fill that in. Okay. Now complete each number sentence to show equivalent fractions. You're lucky because your book gives you these examples. 1/2 is equal to how many sixths? Well, 1/2 is equal to 1, 2, 3 sixths. You can also do this on with your number strips too, with your fraction strips if you want to. You can easily see that 1/2 is equal to 1, 2, 3 sixths. Okay? Go ahead and try number 3 on your own. Take a look at it. You can see that there are how many fourths there, which is equal to 6/8. Okay, go ahead and make sure you filled in the right answer. Everybody hopefully got that one correct. 3. Okay, complete each number sentence to show equivalent fractions. So looking at the number line, this is divided into fourths. This one's divided into eighths. So 2/4 would be right here is equal to how many eighths? You got it, 4/8, right? And over here we have 1/3 is equal to how many sixths are there? Hopefully you got that, 2/6. All right, now you have to match each pair of equivalent fractions. Make sure if this is confusing to you, you can pretty much eye it and just see which one goes where. But if it's confusing to you, during this time, use your strips and match them up and see if that helps you. Okay, pause the video if you need to. Okay, I'm going to give you your answers. Don't just write them in. Hopefully you got them right. Okay, give yourself a pat on the back if you got them right. Okay. All right, so Raheem was at bat 8 times during a baseball game. He struck out 2 times. Circle the equivalent fractions that represents the number of times Raheem hit the ball. So he was at bat 8 times. He struck out 2. So he was at how many times he hit the ball. If he struck out twice, he hit the ball. 2 plus what equals 8? 6/8 and 6/8. If you look at the eighths, you find something that matches up with 6/8. You can see that that would be 3/4 right there. Okay. All right, Leah said that it rained 2 of the last 4 school days. Circle the equivalent fractions that represent the number of days it rained over the last 4 school days. Draw a model that supports your answer. Give you a second to answer this one. See if you can get this one on your own. Rained 2 out of the 4. Okay. 2/4 would be one of the fractions, and the other 2/4, another thing for 2/4 would be 1/2 is the equivalent to 2/4. Okay. All right, Andrew had 5 addition problems and 3 subtraction problems to do for homework. He completed half of them after school. Shade the bar to show the fraction of the problems he still has to do. You have to read these questions carefully. So he had 5 addition problems and 3 subtraction problems. He completed half of them. So you have to know 5 plus 3 is 8, and then what's half of 8? And you should go ahead and shade in 4. And when you shade in 4, you can see that that would be 4/8, and an equivalent fraction to that would be 1/2. Okay, find the error, circle the fraction that does not belong with the other 3. This is a good time for you to use your fraction strips if you need to. See if you can figure it out. One of them's more than the other. And the first 3 fractions are equivalent, the last one is not. The first 3 are basically 1/2. 4/8 would be a half. 8/16 would be a half. You can kind of tell by if it's the number, the denominator, and the numerator. Look at that and figure it out. Okay, how do you know if 2 fractions are equivalent? Well, here's your long answer. You guys might want to hit pause when you see this, and of course you don't have to write sample answer, but two fractions that name the same number on the number line are equivalent. You can use fraction tiles to model each fraction to see if they are the same size. I wish we were at school and had the plastic ones we were using, but the strips will work fine. Okay, time for you to give it practice today. I'll post your homework tomorrow. You guys are doing a great job. If you have any questions, just send Mrs. Selfridge an email or keep up the good work. I'm proud of you. Take care.